Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What is up, everyone? It's your host, Brett Bovin. Welcome to the show for all hunters and outdoorsmen alike. Get together to share stories, strategies, and just become good friends after all at the end of the day. And I'm excited for the guest we have on for tonight. Him and I have been talking now for a couple of days now and more in depth. And man, I love talking with this guy. So I'm going to try and hold my grill crush back for the intro, and we'll get it more into that later into the show. But for those of you that are unfamiliar with the show, we do a live show every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our YouTube channel. Each week we cover a new state. This week we're in New York. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that and you want to share it during the show, feel free to drop them in the comment section. We'll pop them up during the show, and we'll answer them and address them during the show as well. I always say if anyone wants to be a guest on the show, feel free to reach out to me on social media, or you can send an email to brettbovin@whitetailadvantage.com. I never tell anybody no that wants to come on the show. I always tell people we'll figure out something if we have something locked up for days, whatnot. If anything, like I said, I'll always tell people they can come on the show. Feel free to reach out. We also have a saying on the show of put your cord in the slot machine. What I simply mean by that is to help share a show. I strongly believe hunting is a dying sport, it's a dying lifestyle, and deer camp is kind of a thing of the past. And I'm doing my best. I feel like I'm trying to do my best to bring that mentality back into what it used to be. Now we have podcasts and all these videos and stuff like that, which is great. But at the end of the day, hunting truly is getting together with friends and family, talking about hunting stories and just sharing everything. And it's the camaraderie about it all. And it's amazing. And I love talking with people, and I love learning their background and learning their history and learning what they're doing and just sitting back and just listening. Also, if you use the code GP10, GP10, you get 10% discount off Gilly Puck products. Make sure to also check out MAGNUS BROADHEADS and Grizz Media. They're going to be helping relaunch Whitetail Advantage into the future, and we're looking forward to working with them extensively. Now, I'm done with that boring intro. Like I say every time, I swear I don't like doing it. It's annoying, but it is what it is. A couple of side notes thing here I want to say is I was talking with Adam here earlier. We were talking about trail cameras, and if you know my story from last year we saw a bunch of whitetail deer out there, bucks, that were probably, we estimated to be about 140 inch or above. And then we were looking forward to the season, and all of a sudden they just vanished. And it turned out to be a good year, but not like we thought it was going to be. So we're seeing photos this year, and I was like, no, fuck that. This year's going to suck. No matter what it is, it's just going to be a crap show, no matter what's going to happen. So we're going to turn into something great, but we're starting off the year with very, very low expectations, because I seen one of the deer on camera, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I let that one deer pass, because I knew he'd turn into a giant, and sure as shit, he does. I'm estimating him to be about 155. So I'm excited about that one. But like I said, low expectations. Anyways, as you might know, we also have a new teammate here on the show, Whitetail Advantage. And with that being said, I'm going to play a quick little video. I told him I'd play it. I wanted to send it to him, but he's like, no, play it during the show. I want to see it on the actual show. So here it is with our new teammate.
3, 2, 1, bang.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having John part of the team now. Him and I met online through the Gilly Puck Pro staff, and come to find out, he's like right down the road from me. So it's 15-20 minute drive. So we haven't officially met yet in person. We've been kind of busy with each other's schedules, but I'm excited for him to be a part of the team, and I'm excited to know the guy. So anyways, with that being said, today is Tuesday, August 13th. We are in New York, and it's episode 97. Holy shit. It seemed like the other day we were starting back up the whole thing of the podcast again, and we're episode 13, 14, whatever. Here in a couple episodes, we're going to be at 100. So time flies, man. But anyways, enough of me jibber jabbering. I'm sure you guys don't like listening to me talk. Let's get our guests in for tonight. Adam the Squatch.
3, 2.
My bad. I'm producing to help produce the show tonight, so I don't have the producer here, so I apologize. What is up, buddy?
What's going on?
Oh man. Just clicking the wrong buttons here and there once in a while. So.
Hey, that happens, man. It's, no pressure.
Exactly. Well, buddy, can you tell, for anyone that doesn't know you, can you give a little background about yourself?
Absolutely. So my real name is Adam Monteleone. That's the God-given name, but I go by the Squatch. You guys, I don't know if you've caught up with my YouTube channel, Outdoors and More with the Squatch. That's me. I'm on all social media platforms. Avid outdoorsman my whole life, ever since I was a little boy. And, I just love what God made for me, man. It's awesome for us to enjoy. It's really, really just, we were talking before. I was telling you I got a good picture of a buck, and you were just elaborating on your cameras. You don't want to know, and I don't want to blame you, because I've had seasons like that too, where it goes, where the hell did they all go? But I grew up here in New York. It's very rural where I am. I was lucky to grow up with a lot of acres around me, and a loving family who enjoyed the outdoors, and very fortunate. Started out plinking squirrels and moved up to whitetails and fishing bass and trout, and I love the trout, man. It's really, really cool. I do a lot now with predator hunting all through the winter after deer season's over. Try to knock down and cull the coyote population. I got some videos of that. So it's my little story.
Yeah. Now I remember you and I were talking the other day and talking about your stories about the squirrel tails. Like,
all
right.
The squirrel tails from Mepps lures, and shooting a brick of CCI stingers about in a couple of days. So I used to whack and stack the squirrels, but my father, if he's watching, he'll tell you, he said, knock it off, you ain't eating them. And it got kind of stinky, and I was a kid, you got to forgive me, but it was fun. It was good target practicing and stuff, and it's up there. I see my boys chiming in. Jason's killing and grilling. It's my man right there. Jason's an awesome dude, man. Thanks for the support, brothers. Thank you. So man, Broadside Ambush Frank, that's my sidekick right there. That's a dude that's a dude you got to get on the show too. He's awesome. Great hunter, man. Good brother.
Yeah. The comments are dropping in crazy here. So everyone here that's still tuning into the show, thanks everyone for tuning in. PSE Mobile Hunter, I swear, if you say go blue one more time, I'm banning you for everything Whitetail Advantage. Everyone knows I can't stand Michigan Wolverines. I say it all the time. I find out that you're a Michigan fan and I have you booked for the show. That's the one time I'm going to tell someone no, they can't come on the show. Anyway. Oh, here's another one. Jason Keelan, Batman and Robin, Squatch and Frank.
Yeah. I don't know which one's Batman. I don't know which one's Robin, but I'll go with it. I'll take the Batmobile. That was an awesome freaking car.
Oh man, when I was a kid, I wanted the Batmobile. The thing was awesome. And then I got older and I started watching Iron Man. I was like, I want a fucking Iron Man suit. Jason, he says, here's a comment here. Jason's killing and grilling. I say go Big Blue, Kentucky. Okay. I'm also a side note Tennessee fan, so I'll take that. No, when you're me either for life, brother.
Yeah. Great guy, man. It's funny, like Brett, like we were talking last night a little bit, and we were saying how much, the outdoors brings people together, even though that you're strangers, and social media brings us together. And I'll tell you, man, it started out with Pursuit Energy, and the people and friends just that took off from that. It's badass, man. I've met so many great people alongside yourself, and it's just been a great ride, man. I've met a lot of cool people, a lot of great people in a short amount of time. You feel like you've known somebody for over 20 something years. So it's all good. It's really good. It's nice to have
I said this on another episode where, like, if you see someone wearing like a camo hat or just like for instance, me wearing this Magnus t-shirt, let's go Magnus Broadheads. You see someone that's wearing that, you kind of instantly mentally start to click with that person.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I feel like we're gonna have a bond. And then next thing you know, you start talking about the most randomest hunting shit, and then you create a brother for life, basically.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Adam, let's talk here about your strategies. Do you dabble in some public land, private land? Do you do both? Stick to one or the other?
Yeah, no, I hunt both. I'm very lucky to have a couple of good private spots that produce good animals. One spot is where I grew up and know the land very well. It got hit pretty hard by EHD about 5-6 years ago. So it's coming back, and I'm starting to see the deer that I used to see there. It was a shame. We lost, quite a few good deer that EHD hit, and you couldn't even walk in the woods over there. It was so bad. Fortunately, where I live, I have orchards by me, and it was something with the apple spray that killed those gnats that get into the deer, and I didn't lose my herd here. My deer were healthy. My deer were big, and I was very fortunate. But yeah, I do hunt my private and public. I do, quite a bit of state land stuff. We call it state land here. It's some of it's like watershed area stuff for the New York City drinking water areas. The 2 bucks right over my shoulder there that are the European mounts next to the big guy, those bucks both came off of that land up there, along with a bear. I got the bear skull out in my haul, but yeah, I like to, you don't want to over hunt an area, and some areas I leave alone, depending on the time of the year. I don't like blowing out a spot, and you don't want to go in and spread your scent all around. And it's like, okay, if I got cameras up and I'm seeing this buck starting to daylight himself, and he's hitting scrape lines, and it's, let's say, near Veterans Day here in New York, yeah, I'm going to sneak in and kill that buck. In the meantime, I may hunt other places where I know there's good animals, but it's a chess game. It's you're playing checkmate with these deer, and scent control is the biggest part of my attack on an animal. You can fool their eyes if you camo yourself pretty good, but you can't fool them with your scent. If your scent is out there, they become instantly alert. And it would be like somebody, just put it this way, smoking a cigarette in your living room. You'd know instantly they're there. And that's what a buck picks up on somebody that's out in the woods. Even if you were there maybe the night before, walking out, coming from your stand, and yeah, Johnny's, scent assassin. Yep, I use that earth, man. I love it. And it's a key player. You have to play the wind. You have to watch your scent. And if you don't, it's a catastrophe. You could be bumping deer. You don't even know they're there. Sometimes a new buck moves into an area when a buck dies, and that buck is leery when he comes into that area. So you put down the wrong scent, or you put down too much stuff, or you're hunting an area too much and creating a scent cloud around your stand, you're going to push that buck. You're going to push him out of there. So my strategy is to hunt smart, hunt slow, and think about how I'm going to attack that deer. Okay. And that's kind of where the Squatch nickname Squatch came in. I'm elusive, I like to be that. And I used to have longer hair. My hair was down to my shoulders. So, I kind of got the thing, I'm a Squatch. I'm in the woods more than they are, and I'm chasing deer and it's, you got to be elusive. You got to kind of think the ultimate predator, what would be in the woods. And, that's how I base my hunts, man. I just, slow down. Don't get so rambunctious. Don't, like you said, you get pictures and you're like, oh, that deer's there. I'm going to go hunt the hell. I'll get him. You're just educating. So the best thing you can do is slow yourself down, take your time, let the cameras do the work, keep them hidden. Try not to go back and replace batteries if you have to or stuff, I'm fortunate enough. I have someone's solar panel. I hang them high and, spray them down. Public land, where we go, when we get in early, it's not bad. There is some pressure, but we go pretty far back. And I'm fortunate enough. I have a side-by-side, and we ride up in from where we park at least 20 minutes with the side-by-side. And we're in usually an hour and a half before daylight. Where we park the side-by-side, we got about another 20-minute walk in. And that's when you find out you're a real fat guy, especially if you got to drag the deer out that way when you go back. And yeah, I feel it sometimes, it's I ain't no spring chicken, man, but I get my butt up there and I hunt and I'm successful. Yeah. You have a good time and you learn stuff and the strategies are up there, really kind of similar. I do a little bit more ground hunting up there than I do any kind of stand hunting just because it's more crap to bring in with you. So I kind of go old school back to the days when I didn't have stands and stuff. And, I'll work ledges or I'll get blowdowns that can hide me and, basically hunt heads, hollows and, saddles where ridges all kind of connect. Especially during the rut, when the rut's on hard, they'll run those saddles to make it easy on themselves, not to burn up so many calories and wear themselves down. And they like those saddles; they'll connect. And if you've ever been on a deer trail, up through the mountains and stuff, you'll if you can get on a good path, especially in the snow, you'll see how they kind of switch back, they meander, they don't go straight up. They're smart. They conserve their energy. Unless they're being chased, if they got a coyote after them or a crazy guy like me chasing them around or something, they'll tend to go straight up and get the hell away from you. But most time, if you find those runs, you can walk. You got a pretty easy walk and you learn a lot just by doing that. So sometimes my strategy is just cutting a fresh track, go slow again, slow yourself down and, learn your surroundings, learn what they're eating. Frank and I were just out on a piece of public. We're scouting it out pretty hard for bear, but it has good deer opportunity too. And the place is full of blueberries. And we got up there and I still found some blueberries on some of the bushes. And I was pointing out to Frank, I said, look at how hard they're just munching on this stuff up here. I mean, this is a textbook area. There's acorns, there's, hickory nuts, there's blueberries. I mean, all the stuff deer and bear are going to look for. So food sources, water sources, early on, find that stuff. That's stuff where they're going to be. They're not going to bed far away from it. And, if you can sneak into a bedding area, get close, and you learn those areas, you got a real good chance of shooting a nice buck. Because I'll tell you what, they get on those ridges, they'll get above it, and they catch thermals. If you guys don't know what thermals are, it's going to be where the wind is carried up by the heat in the morning and it cools down at night. They bring down. And the scent and bucks follow that, man. They follow that. They'll lock onto an estrus doe and they will cruise those bedding areas. And if you're just set up nice and high or you're tucked in somewhere, you'll kill a buck. You'll kill a good buck. I seen Mike just commented he can't wait for opening day with Frank and I, and looking forward to that too. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And like I said, made so many new friends and these guys are great, man. I'm telling you, there's no animosity. So I'm looking forward to it too, man. A lot of good stuff coming up this year. I hope I can get some good footage, with the cameras and get some good videos out and give you guys something to watch. And maybe I'll be the next Bill Jordan someday or something. Who the heck knows?
Right. Well, no, when I was in the police academy, we basically lived by the motto of slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
So just take your time, don't rush things. And when I said it before to other people that are just like my buddy Dan, it's like, you really want to know whitetail deer and start from basically the ground up, start tracking in the wintertime. If you have the option, if you can do it where your state allows for good winter or good snowfall, take advantage of it and go track to see what they're doing out in the woods and walk the area. And I'll get right on their trail. I don't give a shit. But when I'm doing that is I'm looking to see where they're walking. I'm looking down, I'm looking around, I'm looking up, side, left, whatever is going on.
Yeah.
And then as I'm walking where I started to where I kind of like halfway point or whatever, I always ask myself, what's specific about this trail that led from there to this mile point that I'm over here? What's going on here? Where am I going? Where am I going to from over there? Just slow and smooth, man. Just take your time. And yeah.
No, that's just it. There's so many people it's the hype of, I think because they watch so many hunting shows, and it's squeezed into a half-hour show. So they think they got to squeeze their hunt into a half-hour show. And they rush it. It's like, yeah, I know I can get in there. I can get on that buck. I can kill him. Yeah, you probably can, but you need to slow the hell down and watch what you're doing and watch how you're touching stuff. And it's key. It's very key. That's
the reason I don't like shorts and reels, because don't get me wrong, I'll post them there with the show, but at the end of the day, first off, I can't stand TikTok. Everyone knows me, knows I can't stand that shit because I think it's the downfall to society in general.
It is, man.
It really is, because the attention span before pre-TikTok was already atrocious, and now we're just feeding into the problem.
Yeah.
But when you look at, let's take away the funny side TikTok videos, and we're looking at hunting video, shorts and reels, whatever. You see people that go out there and they get it done. And they're like, oh, look at this big buck that I killed, and it took me 20 seconds. And then you start seeing it over and over and over again. Then you start getting into that person's mentality of, well, I never really hunted. It's my third year hunting. How come they're doing it so quick? And if I should be able to go out there in my tree stand and do it in like a day. And now you're just creating you're creating a bigger problem with people that are trying to get into the woods, or that were trying it out and they're seeing that and then they're getting disheartened because they're not getting successful. Yeah. So now you're causing the problem of more hunters leaving hunting.
And then you got the guys that, they shoot a small 4 or a spike, and then they're all bashed online, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I started out shooting small deer. I got cardboard boxes full of small racks downstairs, and you can't eat the horns, man. It's nice to shoot deer like these, and it's cool, but you know what, God, man, remember where you came from, people. You got to learn. Don't bash some guy if he's out there shooting something small. I mean, listen to his hunt. Maybe he put the time in, and he really, really worked hard to shoot a spike. I mean, people expect to shoot big deer. There's not big deer everywhere. You can't just go in a section of woods and think you're going to shoot big deer. You got to do the legwork. You got to drive around in the evenings. You got to look. You got to see, if it's public land, what comes out of there. You got to talk to taxidermists, and you got to talk to butchers, and, get the lowdown on what the area is where you expect to go kill these monster deer. Because I'm here to tell you, I've seen way more scrub bucks with poor genetics, than most deer that you're going to shoot as a trophy buck. And it happens. So, you got to be real with yourself too. And you got to say, hey, I've had cameras out. Let's say you had cameras out, and, it's not producing. You're not seeing stuff. And, maybe it's just not the area you should be in. Maybe you should try to get a better area, and it's like, I'm sure out where you are out in Michigan, you see it all the time. There's probably areas where there's just piss poor genetics and, okay, if you're going for meat, okay, fine, and shoot whatever, but if you're looking for something trophy, you got to have thing. And it's the same thing when you're fishing. If you fish fisheries that are fished out, there's not a lot of stuff there. Well, by God, you're not going to catch a 10-pound laker or a freaking 15-pound brown. I mean, when I fish the reservoirs and stuff that I go to, these are like top of the line, estuaries. The waters are beautiful. It's New York City drinking water, so it's very clean. And these places have been built since the early 50s. Can you imagine the size of the fish that are in there? And they're huge.
Right.
So it's like I said, look at your habitat. Look at where you're hunting. Look at the genetics of the animals that are there. And, you'll succeed. You'll do well. But you got to have the genetics. You got to have the good spots because, you're otherwise you're just doing yourself an injustice.
And you can't, I say this too, or you can't look at say you're looking at someone else in the same state.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Joe Blow, 5 counties over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the photos he's posting online of the trail cameras, and they're like 200s, 150s, 160s. And it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Look at my trail camera photos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking though, because I'm not getting,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing that game again this year. Fuck that shit. But I'm just saying, like, all right, I see 2 that are 120s.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep.
So basically, you can't look at what someone else is doing on their own property because their property and habitat, like you just said, is going to be completely different than what you got going on. Yep. So you got to learn to adjust on how can you manipulate your piece of property to hold big deer, to attract mature deer. Mm-hmm. And if that's not your goal to get them, how can you put yourself in the right position and know the deer, how their movement is like on your property.
Right.
So it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter what they're doing 5 counties over or the next county over. No. What are you doing on your 80 piece of land or your 20 piece of land?
Right. Right. And like my good friend the Reaper and I were talking. I'm going to borrow something from him. Very wise guy. And I agree with him 100%. We really come in accordance with the way we think about deer. And like I was saying here, I have 2 good bucks that I saw here early on, but I think they might have moved on because as the rut comes on, there's something naturally that tells them not to breed with their sister. So they'll move on to a different family of does. Right now, they're in the hierarchy of with their family. So you'll get pictures of bucks that are there. But as the rut nears, psychologically in their brain, something God must have instilled in their head not to interbreed. And they move on. And it's a good point. Like I've had people say, oh, dude, you got to see the bucks I got on camera here. I mean, oh gosh, I can't wait for opening day. And then, they'll get in like the first week or 2. And if they're not careful, sometimes it's their scent or how they're going in and out to their stand. And that'll ruin the hunt. But it's most likely the deer has moved on to another family that's not in their bloodline, and they know not to breed that. And what happens is they'll move off, they'll breed a buck. And I did comment on this on one of your shows. I don't remember who you had on, but we were talking about how far a buck will travel in their breeding cycle. And I've read and seen pictures of the same deer. And I mean, some bucks you can tell, like the genealogy and the horns and how they're formed, you can tell a buck from somebody else's picture. And I've seen them here 5 and 6, 7 miles away from where I am, the same buck. And what's uncanny is we have what we call the Illinois mountain range here, which is Marlboro Mountain. That runs all the way south to the town of Newburgh. And that is 5, 6 miles. And I've got friends of mine that hunt down there, show me the same damn trail cam pictures of the same bucks that I've seen here. And how can I tell? Because he's got a specific drop time or he's got a marking on him. And there's no mistaking him. There's just no mistaking that deer. And you read the studies, and they've radio collared deer, how far they go. And I'm here to tell you what, it's amazing. Especially here, what I have here is super, super duper breeding grounds. It's bedding areas for does. And the mountain being so close, like I said before, the bucks will smell thermals. And when the scent is right, they come down off that mountain because they're all in rut. And they were pound the hell out of these bedding areas. And I'm just a lucky guy sitting there waiting to see what pops up. And, sometimes the bucks that are the homeboys, they're there. I'll see them. I'll get them. It's the same guys hang around. And all of a sudden, here's Joe Schmo from, 5 miles away. So, don't get discouraged either. I mean, it's disheartening when you've had, a good buck on camera and you're just like, you make that your target buck. I mean, I hate that cliche, but yeah, it's my target buck. And then he doesn't show up, or he goes over to the next farm and gets killed. He's just following his nose. He's following what he knows, what he's after. And it was just that certain day, a good doe was over there that he wanted. It's no different than when we were cruising the bars and seeing a cute chick, and we'd walk over, and if we got sidetracked, another guy moved in on that chick and took your chick away. These bucks don't do that. They're on that doe, and they ain't letting up, man. So,
well, that's like when people say, and I say it, where it's like you see someone that shoots quote unquote your deer. Everyone's got an attachment to a certain deer here and there. So I don't see the problem with saying, "Oh, they shot my deer." It's okay, but you better be tying it back around saying, "Hey man, awesome deer. I've had history with that deer," and sharing with it. Because like I said, I don't like when people say, "Well, that's my deer. Why'd you?" I don't like when people are like get very possessive about a deer when someone else shoots it, and they're like, "Well, that's my deer. Why'd you shoot that deer? I was after him. How fucking dare you do that?" I've caught myself where I said, for instance, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Someone shot this deer that I nicknamed Toretto. And I shot him a year and a half before 3 years ago. So 5 years ago, shot him, missed him. And then I got pictures of him on camera. I was like, man, I'll see you soon. Like that famous Fast Five movie when he tells Toretto, I'll see you soon, whatever. So that's how I came to Toretto. But anyways, I saw the guy. I didn't see him. I saw the photo of that. He got that deer. I was like, oh man, that was my deer. I really wanted that one because I had history with him, and I wanted to kind of close the chapter on how I missed him and this and that. I've got pictures with it. But it was a great deer, and I texted the guy. I said, hey man, I'm happy for you. Congratulations. And it's one thing saying that, but like I said, when you're saying it, well, that's my deer. Shut the fuck up. It's not your deer. It's not like it's one thing if you have a fenced in area and someone comes in and shoots it, then you might be able to say that's my fucking deer on there. But when it's free range, no one's your deer.
Right. No, I had a freak last year, and I've watched him for 4.5 years. I watched him, and this guy was a big booger, man. He had a real freaking screwy rack. His one side came up 3. And the other side of his rack went straight up and had 3 little points out of it, but it was like that big around. And this last bow season, I was out in one of my favorite spots, and he came out at 60 yards. It's on my channel. Can't really see him too well because I was just like starting out with the cheap cameras and stuff. But you can see him as he goes away. He walks through the opening at 60 yards, and I'm like, all right. And he walked off, and the next farm over, good bunch of guys. They're 2 brothers and stuff. They hunt. And he's like, hey, man, you mind me asking? He's like, have you had a lot of deer on trail camera? And I'm like, yeah, back in the beginning of the season I did, but it's dwindling out. But I said, that freak I'm after has been over here. He's been hanging out. I got him on camera a bunch of times. He's like, cool, man. I hope you get him. I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. And I went through rifle season, and I think it was like the 2nd week, and he calls me, and he goes, hey, how you doing? I said, all right, what's going on? He says, you know that freak you were after? I said, yeah. He says, well, my brother and I found him dead. I said, what do you mean found him dead? He goes, he's dead. I said, bullet hole, car, coyotes? What killed that buck, And he's like, I hate calling you like this. He's like, I know how much you're like looking forward to getting that deer. And he goes, I swear to you, none of us shot it. It doesn't have a bullet hole in it. He goes, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to, try to skin him out, see what's going on, but we don't know. And I was like, oh man. And it was like the second week. And I think he just was so old. He gave up, like his heart just gave out. I think he was just that old and he just collapsed. I think he just ran himself ragged, but what a matriarch of a deer. He was beautiful. And it hurt, I don't know how to explain it, like to the average person that doesn't hunt. It hurt. I was, I don't want to sound like a wuss, but I had tears in the corners of my eyes, and I'm like, man, I put so much time and effort into doing everything right, and he's done. I'm not going to get him, and they're like, don't worry, we're going to send you pictures and, you come check it out if you want. And the guys, I appreciate it, man. I know it's all right. What they found out was though, the reason why he had a screwy rack, he fractured his skull. So,
oh shit,
how the hell he lived with that, I don't know. But that's why he had the deformity in his skull plate, and his rack grew weird. But Brett, I'm telling you, we get some big deer here. We got farms here, apple orchards. They eat like all the time. They got all the best of the stuff. That buck on the hoof was 225. I mean, he was just an absolute beast. And I was getting so close, doing everything right, just watching my scent. Don't overhunt. Take your time. I'm telling myself, you're going to get him. You're going to get him. And I did have him one morning behind the house here. I'm in a ladder stand, and I couldn't even see the pins on the bow, but the moonlight, I could see that rack, and he came in, and I could hear him actually snorting like, because he was running. He had chased a doe in past me, and I'm like, oh, that's him. That's him. And I'm just looking at this monster of a deer, and I'm like, I don't have a shot. I can't even shoot, and I'm not going to wound him. And, and then to find out that he died, I had to really take a minute. I had to take a minute and just say, okay, you know what? We got other spots to hunt. We're going to check it off, and we're going to move on. And that's what you do, So what did I do? I left here. I said, I know there's really not too many good target bucks here. Time to go to the state. So I went up to state land and started walking around there and looking for some bucks up there and stuff. And, it was just a fun season. I still had a fun season, even though that tragedy happened. But, you do get attached. You get attached. And that's another problem with trail cams. You start naming deer and, you get to know them. Like, I got a beautiful set of little triplets up here and little fawns, and I got no problem killing them, when they're bigger, but you start following them. You start seeing what the family groups up there. I mean, I got numerous pictures of does kissing their fawns and vice versa. And you gain a huge, huge respect for these animals. It's not about the hunt. It's the glory that you have to enjoy time in the outdoors. And there's so many people out there that fall short. They never experience it. And I just feel so bad for people like that, and, my grandfather, my great grandfather came from Italy. And when they came here, he had his butcher shop. So my grandfather grew up in the butcher shop, and he taught us all how to butcher our deer. And when I was a little kid, we had sometimes 15, 20 deer hanging in our garage. All the cousins, came up from the city or whatever. They all bring it to Ed. Ed will cut them up. That was my grandfather. So I got, the best experience learning how to process animals. From the time that deer hits the ground, it's all by me. It doesn't go to anybody. I've been told I make some of the best venison jerky and venison steaks and food out there, not trying to toot my own horn, but when you're around it, as long as I've been around it, you learn to enjoy it. You learn how to do everything you possibly can to enjoy that animal that gave up its life for you. And it's very important to me. It's very important. And anybody that hunts should have that respect. I mean, I don't know how many people, and some people might think this is corny, and I really don't care. I'm American Indian. I have Natchez and Blackfoot Indian in my blood. And that was from my grandmother's side. She was from Louisiana, and her mother and her father were both Indian. And we actually do like a ceremony when that buck falls or that animal falls. I say a prayer over it. I grab it by the snout. I bring it up to my face. You're supposed to like inhale, not touching it, but inhale its spirit and blow it back out to the wild. So every animal that goes down to me, falls to me, my gun or my bow, gets that respect. And everybody that hunts with me, they got to do it. If they don't, you're not hanging with me. So, and I tell the guys, it's good luck. Do it. When you show respect for the animal, the respect is returned. And it's like the balances of everything that's out there says, this guy's respectful. He didn't just, jump around. I mean, we do that too. Don't get me wrong. We have fun, but that's a key thing. I try to instill that in people that I teach. I got a young guy by the name of Evan. He's good friends of ours. He begged me last year, please, man, please. I want to hunt. I want to get a deer. And my father says, take him. He wants to go. And I said, okay, you got a gun? Yeah, I got a 243. Okay, fine. I'll put you in the spot. Half hour later, he shot his first 6-pointer. So to see the look on his face and how happy he was, and then, okay, now what do I do? You got to teach me. And I'm like, fine, I'll teach you. Well, am I going to take it to a butcher, or should you teach me how to cut it up? I said, look, what do you want to do? Do you want to know everything? And he goes, yeah. You can see the excitement. And I said, okay, we'll go hang them up and let me go home. We'll get changed. And later on, we'll get them cut up. All right. I'll teach you how to cut them up. Great. So my father came over because he lives down the hill from him a little ways. And we had a nice time, and when you can transfer that kind of stuff to somebody, it ain't about hunting, man. It's about the brotherhood. It's about the camaraderie. It's about the teaching lesson that everybody should have the opportunity to learn. I mean, you're not only saving yourself money, but you're also learning how to survive and not be reliant on anybody. And like I said, the little tricks of the trades, putting scent out, this and that, that's all fine and dandy. I mean, anybody can read about that. You can watch YouTube videos on that. You can do it yourself and learn. But when you've got generational knowledge handed down and you can transfer that to somebody, it's priceless, bro. It's priceless. And that's the stuff. That's what I'm about. Being that guy that can leave something to somebody and they can say, hey, I got that from so-and-so, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. I'm just as happy, if somebody shoots a big buck, hey man, you did the work. Congratulations, and I see so many, like you were saying, the attention deficit stuff and how people, there's so many young guys out there, they'll get one deer and they shoot a big buck and, they become a know-it-all. And I ain't about that, man. I'm the furthest damn thing from being a professional. I screw up. I have things happen. I make bad shots. Trust me. I mean, you don't get to be a good tracker by making good shots. And just sometimes things happen. We practice and practice and practice. And the inevitable comes about. You have to know how to keep yourself in check, stay calm, take it slow, and get yourself through it, because you're not always going to make a good shot. I had a deer I hit back here, and I spent 5 hours that night in the snow tracking that deer. It was a doe. It was just a doe. Most guys would have gave up. Screw it. I didn't hit her. It's just a doe. Nope. It was 20 degrees out, freezing cold. There wasn't a lot of blood. And I tracked her by her tracks, even when she was mixed in with the rest of the herd. And by the grace of God and patience, man, I found her. And I had to put her out. She was still trying to get up. And I felt bad. I sent an extra prayer over her. I felt really horrible. I don't like to put an animal through that. But I didn't lose my mind. I stayed cool. I thought about the situation. I looked at the lay of the land, and I picked up her specific foot track. I knew how she was walking. And every once in a while, I'd catch a little tiny speck of blood. And this is at night, and I'm by myself. And I'm going through stuff that's super, super thick on my hands and knees, crawling. And I'm like, I got to find this deer. I'm not giving up. That's the stuff that makes a good hunter. That's the stuff that you can't teach. You have to experience it. And, I got people call me up. When you shoot one, man, I want to go with you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can go with me. And, it's all good, man. It's all the stuff, so many people get on and, I've watched a lot of people speak on YouTube and different stuff, and they'll talk about their strategies. That's a strategy. Learn how to track a deer. Learn what a deer does when it's hurt. Learn what a deer does. They'll double back. I mean, they'll lay still. You could go right by them. You won't even know. So those are the things that are key. I try to teach people, learn the aspects of that, because it's going to happen sooner or later.
Right.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. You got people out there. I never heard of a wounded deer yet. Bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I got off just rambling on there, but you stop me at any time. Say, hey, we got to switch gears.
No, you're good, buddy. No, I was raised the same way. My grandma on my mom's side, part Cherokee, runs through me. And when I shot my very first deer, we had to rub blood, kind of like little lines here in my face. Yep. And every time now, my dad's like, you always have to say a prayer over your deer and just enjoy and bless it for giving its life for its food for you to have. And I think a lot of people don't respect that part, or maybe the people out there that do it or don't do it, whatever. That's fine. But as long as you're not just going out there slaughtering deer, that's one thing. But for me, I'm out there and I'm blessing the deer for thanking its life for my food.
Right.
And I even get to the point where if I have deer meat in my fridge and my wife or my mom or dad, whatever, and I cook the meat, I make sure none of it goes to waste. I'll eat a fucking 5 pounds. If we made 5 pounds and everyone's full and there's like half a pound left, I'm like, give it here. I'll shove it down my gullet somehow, because it's like, because I feel bad if that food goes away. I feel bad throwing food away in general. But when it comes to deer meat, I get very possessive about it. I'm like, no, nothing's going to waste. Everyone's fucking eating it, or whatever the case may be.
I know my wife just said, season's getting closer. What you got, you should start making some jerky up and start, making room. I said, yeah, you're right. I gotta get down there. Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Jason's here. He said, I had a deer I watched for 5 years. Little guy turned to 200. I cannot talk right now. Turned to 200 inches. Then after one pick in velvet, I never seen him again. I'm sorry to hear that, man. PSC Mobile here said, we were raised saying prayer and thanks when you kill any animal, and my kids do it. That's great teaching right there.
Yep.
There's another question here. You bringing any of that to camp? I'm assuming you're talking about your venison there.
Jason, if Jason thinks I'm going to go all the way down there to Ohio and Kentucky without something, he must have a fever, because I gotta bring him something, man. Gotta bring him something.
PSC Warrior said, sit in the woods and listen to best education. That is true.
It is.
And I think you learn a lot just by, I think people when they're going out hunting and they don't see any animals, or they'll see deer move around. They don't close the book on a buck or a doe, whatever the case may be. Some people might get like, oh man, that sucked. That was a crappy hunt. I saw like 5 deer. Like, yeah, but what'd you learn about those deer? Where'd they come out from? What were they doing out there?
Yeah.
Don't go out there just going out to hunt. And obviously we all want to go out there and fill a tag.
Yeah.
But just because you didn't do that, did you at least learn something at all during that hunt? Can you take something of value from that singular hunt?
Were you able to go out and hunt?
Exactly. Were you able to walk or just go out there?
Were you able to actually climb up a stand and enjoy yourself and look at nature? Oh, because a lot of people can't. So, you know, it's people take a lot for granted, man. And you know what? It's understandable in these times. I mean, I don't respect it, but it's understandable when you see the mentality. And that's why it's important to,
that's not to cut you off, but that's the type of culture that we live in nowadays. Of it's cancel culture, woke culture, getting rid of Christianity and getting rid of the alpha male. If you aren't in this, well, you have to accept me the way that I am and all this stuff, and Christianity, this and blah blah blah, then you're a bigot, a racist, fascist, whatever the case may be. They're calling you all the names in the book, and it's like, what? Did all the values just simply just go out the window?
Right. I mean, just to get it out there.
Hunting teaches everything that you need to know, as not just as a man, but it teaches values that you don't understand possibly right away. But if you have a good mentor, a good father or uncle, or somebody that's teaching you the important values of hunting, saying a prayer every animal, and doing all the right things, paying attention to the details. I stress attention to the detail, because you're killing an animal, so you have to pay attention to the small details.
Yeah.
I go off tangent here, but if you're learning things in hunting that are going to carry into your regular day life and shape you into who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I just want to get this out in the open. I identify as a Squatch. Okay. So, you know, my pronoun is Squatch. But anyway,
identify as a tree then.
I had to put that in there.
No, you're good.
There's no filter. But anyway, you know, it's hunting, you know, like I said, it's Frankie says 100% fact. If I love the bumper sticker. You've seen the bumper sticker, kids who hunt and fish don't mug little old ladies. You know, you ever see that?
No.
And it's the truth, man. Well, there was a bumper sticker going around years ago when I was growing up. It said, kids who hunt, fish, and trap don't mug little old ladies. And it's the truth. If you're brought up the right way, you love the outdoors, you become a good person, you know? And it needs to be reinforced. You know, so many guys grew up. I know a lot of people grew up without a father. You know, thank God I was lucky. I had my father all these years, still do. And learned a lot, not just hunting wise, just everything, you know, mechanics, fabricating, you know, framing, you know, all kinds of stuff, everything like that. And then you got a guy like me that's had all that, and you meet somebody that doesn't, and then you start talking to him, and then you're interacting and doing things, and you go, well, how the hell don't you know that? Well, I didn't have that. And you go, wow. So through the power of the internet, it's not all bad. This is a great thing. What we're doing right now is a great thing. And when I make a video, it's not all about, you know, I got a deer, or I got a fish. I kind of like, you know, try to either narrow it through it or put little things up there, and I show you. I'm not hiding nothing. You know, there's no secret. I'm not a magician. You know, it's an educational thing, and it's like I said before. If you can educate people, teach them to respect the outdoors, we're not going to bang heads with people like we do now. People will respect it. And, you know, it's just a lost thing, man, in the world. And it's sad. It's very sad. And there's a lot of good people in this sport. There's a lot of good people out there. You know, of course, you got your handful of dummies that do dumb things, and, you know, they got to deal with that. But for the most part, it's a great, respectful thing that we do. And, you know, when you call on a brother or a sister or somebody, you say, hey, whatever it is, that guy, if they might have an answer for you, hey, you know what, try this, or, this is what I do, or whatever, they suggest stuff to you. And that's what's really cool. And like I said, the social media part, yeah, there's a lot of bad, man. There's a lot of bad, but there's also a lot of good. And it's how people use the resources of it, So
Well, it's helped you and I meet. It's helping us as hunters meet, and it's there's two things here I want to say with that is there's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate.
Right. Yeah, very good.
There's a huge fucking difference.
Mm-hmm.
And shit, what was the other one I was gonna say? Dang it, I lost now. But we just get so soft, and you get people out there that are just now wanting to try to be an activist on social media when they could be going out and doing something of relevance. And I don't know.
I feel you. I know what you're saying, man. I get it. I get it. And you know what? You're always going to have some kind of, somebody that's got something to say. But you know what? I don't care. I can't hear you over the report of my rifle. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So, I just do what I do, and it is what it is. You know what? And if people are going to hate, let them hate. Who cares? They're the ones that are going to be freaking miserable. Why let it ruin your day? Just move on. Because for one guy that hates, there's 10 that love you. So,
right.
Just move on. And with your hunting skills and getting out there, for all the new guys that are out there, listen, talk to people, learn, adapt, and figure it out. And anybody on here that follows, follow me. I don't care. Ask me questions. Don't matter. Don't text me at like 2:00 in the morning. No, I'll get aggravated. But
can I call you at 4:00 in the morning?
You can, as long as we're going hunting and you tell me where to meet up. Yeah, you can call me at 4:00 in the morning. Squatch, meet me over here in Michigan. I got a spot. Let's go. And I'll do the same back. I'll say, come on up. But well, yeah, man. So that was good. That's a good little in-depth thing that we had going there. I like that. It was pretty cool.
I like it. That was good. Yeah. Well, we reached an hour point here, but we kind of let me ask you like a couple questions here about New York, and then we'll jump into trying to wrap the show up here. Yeah. Johnny Nisher says, "Come on over, brother."
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get together. We are. We are.
Hey, you meet up with him. You got to meet with me because we're right down the fucking road.
I will, absolutely. The freaking sacred campfire will have all of us sitting around it, right? Come on.
Oh man. All right. Let me at least ask a basic question here. What's the seasons in New York?
So, like, we're coming up on September. So, like, early bear is in September. You can go after them with whatever basically you want: crossbow, regular bow, rifle. So that's how it starts out. Then you'll have, your small game and stuff comes into in October, that fires up. So you'll get guys out there doing their small game stuff. And then we get into October 1st, and that's when bow season starts here. And it's, just bow, not crossbow. You can use, primitive, recurve, or compound bow. And that's when the games begin. And then you can go into, it's like the week before rifle season starts. I'm sorry, I should have a damn syllabus in front of me, but it's like the week before rifle, you can start hunting with crossbow during bow season. And then we get into rifle season. That's in November 12th. Rifle runs into just about a little bit after, 23rd. So it goes like right before Christmas. Rifle ends. And then you got muzzleloader for 5 days, muzzleloader bow for 5 days. And then they had a late season last year that went into like January a little bit. Just kind of like a last ditch kind of effort to get somebody a deer. And then that's basically it deer wise. And then I'm on predators, man. I go after coyotes and fox and bobcats. I shot a nice 27-pound bobcat a couple of years back with the bow. That was actually during bow season. But there, and you know what? We talk about killing something, not eating it or whatever. Listen, I run 4 beautiful field bred champion beagles. I love those dogs with every inch of my life. Okay. They run into a 27-pound cat. I got a dead beagle. So when I saw that animal come walking through there at 10:30 in the morning, sorry, I know you live here and stuff, but you got to go.
Right.
And I did the most respectful thing I could possibly do. I mean, I did get a full mount of him. He's down on the wall downstairs. I do honor him. I think it was a great animal to pursue, and don't like the fact that I didn't eat him, but I'm not going to eat a cat, and he had to go. So predators, coyote population here is pretty bad. We got a lot of coyotes, so I get on them in the wintertime. I use a Fox Pro Caller. Couple different rifles I use. Go ahead and make fun of me. I shoot a 6.5 Creedmoor. I also use a 204 Ruger, which was built on a 20 Tactical. Bad medicine for freaking coyotes and fox. And last year, I was fortunate enough to make a 158-yard shot with a 22 mag on a coyote, and that was pretty cool. So I use a little bit of everything out there.
Wow.
But, the coyote hunting, the dead of winter, we didn't have any ice last year. I love ice fishing, and if there's no hard water to go out on, I get bored. So it's like, hey, we're going coyote hunting. So I put my Fox Pro out, got a couple decoys that I use and stuff, and I use some hand calls too. And I love it, man. It's
See you later, Johnny.
Good night, Johnny. Good seeing you, my man. So the predator hunting is so cool because they hunt you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more eerier than sitting there with your back up against an apple tree out in these orchards and hearing 20 dogs go off maybe 80 yards away from you. And they're, all through the brush around you. And you got to make a shot before they come in and kind of want to see what you are. So it's a lot of fun, but we whack and stack them. We do pretty good. I was fortunate enough. I bought an ATN scope and that records. So that's pretty wild. So you're seeing the firsthand stuff I'm seeing when I let that bullet fly, man.
Wow.
You'll see I've got like foxes running in, like almost taking the decoy off the stake, and it's pretty wild, man. It's a lot of fun. And when there ain't crap going on in the middle of winter, it's like I turn into like zombie mode, man. I'll be out there like 3 or 4 in the morning because I like hunting them from like 11 at like 10:30, 11 at night through like 4 or 5 in the morning. They're most active. So, she'll be like, where are you going out hunting? I'm like, yep. I go out, fire up the truck, let it warm up. I'll go by myself. I don't even care. I sit out there. I like the challenge. It's pretty cool. You can, and another thing, you can learn a lot. I'll tell you what, deer like predator calls. I've had more damn deer come into a wounded rabbit call than you could shake a stick at. Yeah, the ATN Thor I got too. They're awesome. My cousin uses he just bought the thermal monocular. I have one too, but it's not as good. The one he has, you can see like 1,000 yards with. It's crazy.
Huh.
It's super cool. We've seen bears coming up out of the swamp, and I said, let me see your monocular, man. He's like, all right. So I'm looking. We were up high on this knoll in the orchard, and we're looking way down the lanes of the orchards. I'm like, dude, I don't know what that is, but it's big, and it's standing up. And he's like, oh, come on. I said, I'm telling you, man, I don't know what it is. You better look. So I handed him the monocular back, and he's like, what the hell is that? I said, I don't know. And then we seen another one come out on all fours. I'm like, they're bear. And he's like, oh, and it was like right in March. So they were starting to probably come out of hibernation because it wasn't really cold this winter up here. And there was a family of like 3 or 4 of them, and the ones were standing up, and they were kind of like tangling with each other. And It was really cool to see. But thermal binoculars, the night vision on the scope, all big game changers for predator hunting. And I'm going to do a hell of a lot more of it this year coming up, man. God willing.
That's one thing my dad and I have been wanting to do. The people that we hunt on their property, they're really into that, and they're like, you know what, we should really get more into that as well, because it seems like a fucking blast. And
it is. I mean, you
they
can
got
have
all these optics and these thermals, and I see that stuff on YouTube. I'm like, I gotta get myself into that more often.
Yeah, break out the bank account, man, because I'll tell you what, stuff gets expensive quick.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell my wife I'm gonna buy more equipment. I've already told her I've spent everything. Anyone that's watching, I still haven't told her that I spent $600 on a brand new site. So it's our little secret.
Yeah, don't tell her. Don't tell her. Nah, man, it's all good. It's all good. And if you need some pointers or something, and you got questions about getting started out in it, feel free to hit me up. You got my number now and everything, so you know. I can give you some basics, man, just to get out there and get started. What to look for, what to use, some tactics with that, man. So,
of course, because we even do like Michigan. We do like this. I don't know if it's just like throughout the state or just the area that I'm in. We do like this coyote type tournament, and it's like who gets the most coyotes or the weight limit. I don't know. I never learned much about it because I never did it. But it's something I kind of been wanting to do more in these recent years. But Adam, I got five rapid fire questions here before I let you go. I swear I will find words eventually at some point in my life, but it ain't going to be right now, apparently.
It's all right.
Luckily, I got these questions written down, so I'm still somehow will fuck it up. The first one. What is one state you want to hunt in that you haven't hunted yet?
It would be, without a doubt, Montana.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, you can't pick your state, but what state would you want to move to solely for hunting?
That's a good one. Maybe like Upper Idaho, close to like Montana, up that way. Probably somewhere up in there. Mountains, and a lot of lakes and streams and stuff, man, where nobody can find me. Like, just, you know, where did he live? What's his name? Don't know.
That's Squatch territory.
Yeah, buddy, you got it.
Got another one here. Wait. Spec Ops. Let's go. I'm ready.
That's Petra. That's my wife.
Oh, nice. And then another one here is Jason Killens. I got a Wrath Night Scope on my 22 250.
That works. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Third one. What animal is on your bucket list to hunt, and with what weapon?
Okay, so my bucket list animal to kill would be an Alaskan moose. And what weapon I would use would probably be... Well, I got my grandfather's odd 6. I'm not a big odd 6 guy, but I would take that out, and I would make some custom hand loads for that. Probably a 220 grain round nose Sierra Game King, I think, maybe. And I think that would anchor a moose pretty good. If not, definitely steal Dad's 4570 Government Marlin. I make custom hand loads for that too, but he's kind of finicky about letting me have that. I dropped it once, so.
Everyone I've asked that question since I've kind of been doing this rapid fire questions here. I think I've been doing it now for like 5 episodes, maybe. Anyways, 3 out of the 5 have said moose. 1 said bear, and the other one said a caribou.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mike actually from NJ said moose, I believe.
Okay.
Cool. 4th one. Do you have any hunting superstitions? And if so, what are they?
Oh, boy. Do I have any hunting superstitions? Well, I won't say hunting superstitions, but I do have a superstition about if you're coming out on the boat with me, you can't bring a banana.
That you can't bring a banana?
Yep. No bananas on the boat. Bad luck.
Huh.
Mhm.
That's a first.
Yep.
All right. Last one here. What is one thing that you can think of that we as a hunting community should or could do to improve the hunting community as a whole?
Well, I think we hit on that already. I mean, what we talked about, let's man up. Let's get everybody back out in the woods and start teaching them the basics again. Let's learn how to get back to our roots and survive and work together with each other and have a brotherhood and camaraderie and not try to be the best at everything and show up everybody. Let's work together. Let's educate. Let's basically be human, treat others how you'd like to be treated. Okay. That's where it all starts. I think people need to get back into the book. They need to start reading. They need to not forget about what the rules were written by our God. And, I think if people get back to that, it's the rest of the stuff falls in line. So,
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. Yeah, I don't even want to make a comment because that was like fucking perfect. So excuse my language there. Well, Adam, I can't even call you Adam. I'm a respectful type guy. Usually it's like, "What's up, sir?" Or how do you pronounce your last name?
Monteleone.
Monteleone. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, "What's up, Mr. Monteleone?" or Monteleone, because it's just where I come from in law enforcement. You call everyone by their last name.
Yep.
But I don't think I can ever call you Adam. It's just like, "What's up, Squatch?"
That's it. Everybody calls me Squatch.
I can't call you Adam. It's just gonna be weird for me.
Nah, it's all right. You always call me Squatch, and there's no offense, brother. Anytime. That's what I go by. It's all right.
Well, brother, for anyone that wants to reach out to you and learn more about you or ask any more questions, how can they find you and how can they reach out to you?
Sure, absolutely. So it's Outdoors and More with the Squatch. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, the same name. Facebook, I have Outdoors and More with the Squatch on there also. And that's where all my stuff is. I encourage everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. You can check out the videos on there. I'm an average guy, man. I ain't no professional, so nothing's churched up. Everything's kind of just bare edited, that the best I can do with what I got. And if that's the kind of stuff you guys like to follow and you like truthful stuff and you like the stuff you heard tonight, give me a like, share, and follow, man. I'd sure as heck appreciate it. I do have some merch on Bonfire. I got some t-shirts with the old Squatch on there and stuff. They're pretty cool. Anything that I get out of that, I just turn around and put it right back to my stuff for, editing videos or whatever. I make a little bit on it, but you can go on Bonfire and just head Outdoors and More with the Squatch or Squatch merch, and you'll be able to find my shirts and stuff on there. If you guys are so inclined, that'd be really cool, and get to support a local guy who just does the same stuff that you guys love to do. And like I said, everybody, get a hold of me. I'm on social media with Instagram. If you got any questions, hunting, fishing wise, or you question something on a post, I get back to everybody. I try to keep up on the YouTube stuff too with the comments and stuff. I am only human. I do work, doing stuff too. So I try to get with everybody as fast as I can. But I appreciate everybody out there, guys. Everybody that I've started this venture out with, and you guys all know who you are. All my guys from the early days in Pursuit and everybody I've been on that, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have the brotherhood, with the people that I have. And I hear a lot of good about me. I don't think I'm that good. I really don't. I'm just a lucky guy doing what I love to do. I've gotten a God-given talent, and all the credit goes to him.
Of course. I'm going to have to get myself a t-shirt now.
Awesome, man. Awesome. You got any merch? I'll get some merch from you too, man.
We haven't got there yet. We got the stuff in line with an apparel company out of Tennessee.
Okay.
And right now we're trying to decide, do we want to go put money into the merch, or do we want to put more into basically rebranding stuff? So it's kind of a toss up right now.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Stuff is so expensive. You know? It really is. Stuff is expensive. I ain't afraid to tell you, man. You know, it's expensive, and I'm cheap. I find ways around everything, but it's good, man. You know, we'll all get there. We'll get there. We'll help each other. We're gonna help each other get there. That's one thing for sure. So
I like that, man. I like that. Well, brother, I just want to say thank you again for coming on the show. Great buddy now. I think we're good friends. I'm going to start calling you brother now. But again, absolutely. I can't say thank you, man, enough for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you have the rest of your night. Good rest of your night. And I'll make sure to hit you up tomorrow, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity for letting an old guy like me talk about my little adventures that I do and share my knowledge with people. And hey, man, if you're ever looking for somebody again, hit me up, bro. I'll come on.
Definitely will, man. All right, brother. Have a good rest of your night, man.
You too. Thank you.
See ya.
All right.
Oh, man. What an amazing guy. Down earth, humble guy. He came on the show commenting here on a couple episodes when we officially had Johnny on. I call him Johnny now, but Johnny on, and he's been popping up here and there. And I was like, oh man, I gotta get to know this guy more. And I'm so glad I did, because this is just a down-to-earth, humble guy, God-fearing man, and just a very respectful guy and a great human being. I'm glad to be friends with him now. And I can't say thank you enough, Squatch, for coming on the show. Anyways, everyone, that's going to wrap up another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. Make sure to tune in for Thursday's show when we got Urban Pursuit on. Also, make sure to use the code GP10 and get 10% discount off Gilly Puck products. Also, check out MAGNUS Broadheads, Grizz Media, and give us a great review on Carbon TV. It'd be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, make sure to put your quarter in the slot machine.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.